With patch 3.15 approaching, there's a lot of speculation about what's going to be nerfed and what's going to be buffed to make up for the new shift in the meta that GGG has promised. Now, I know there's some people who are going to say, but 40 skill gems were buffed and nothing changed. Other people, possibly players who have played for a long time, are going to remember other meta shakeups. Things like Legion, where everything completely shifted. Synthesis, where the world was dominated by one skill, and that skill was Winter Orb. Personally, I'm expecting a lot of the popular skills to get nerfed, and I'm expecting some less popular ascendancies and less popular archetypes to get buffed. There's also some new awesome skills, which I'll talk about a little bit at the end of the video. And a short disclaimer, I don't work for grinding your games. I have no control over what actually gets buffed and actually gets nerfed. It seems like a few times certain people have construed from my videos that I actually have the power to change things, and there's times where I truly wish that was the case. I would love to eliminate having to spam flasks. As much as I'd like to do that, that's not within my power. But what is in my power is to thank my YouTube channel members and patrons for their generous support that helped me make this video. More about how you can support at the end. So, to start with, what is getting nerfed? First of all, I think Bladefall Blade Blast is going to get nerfed into the ground. As of 3.10 Delirium League, Bladefall Blade Blast has been that Chad build that you just can't stop and tears through content. We didn't see a ton of the highest level players ending up as Bladefall Blade Blast by the end of this league, but early on, they were dominant, and in the gauntlet, they were overwhelmingly powerful, right up there with the strongest of slams. So I think Bladefall Blade Blast is going to get the big old nerf bat. My guess is going to be it's going to be limited to 10 blades, and the skill combo is going to be totally dead. Next up, Cast on Crit Strike. That's an archetype that has been really strong for a long time. Really, ever since the Cyclone rework, it's been very powerful, and there's been more and more things to enable it. Now, maybe Assassin's just going to be nerfed again, maybe Inquisitor's just going to be nerfed again. Seems like it might be better to address the source of a problem and get rid of all those Ice Nova builds. What will the nerf be? Probably an increased cooldown. When the cooldown was longer before, no one played it, and they'll probably stop playing it the minute it's increased again. Another archetype that has been disproportionately powerful currently is Archmage. Now, Archmage might not get direct nerfs yet. It could be that the nerf to Blade Blast takes away the strongest Archmage build, and then just drops the floor out of the archetype. Could also be that certain Archmage ascendancies, like Necromancer, get hit directly, maybe Hierophant as well. Or it could be that Archmage is too dominant and sees some sort of power reduction as a way to force a meta shift, because Archmage is currently one of the best ways to scale plenty of damage while also being absurdly tanky. I also think there's a couple ascendancies that have been at the top for a long time, and one ascendancy that is now at the top that probably isn't going to stay there. Of all the ascendancies that have been good for a while, Necro stands out to me as the one that's probably going to get nerfed. I'm going to guess that Spectres are going to get hit this time. Not sure exactly what, maybe some more survivability. Something to get people to stop playing minion builds. I doubt it'll work, but we will see. Everything else, probably okay, as we've seen a decent shift in play rate, and buffs could very easily push other things into popularity. Maybe Raider gets a little bit of a tap. The only other one that I suspect could be on the chopping block is Elementalist. It is no secret that GGG hates them, probably because Elementalists are only good at one thing: setting servers on fire. That smell? Yeah, that's melting server blades. Don't worry about it, it's perfectly normal. Now earlier, I mentioned slams were really strong, but I haven't talked about nerfing them yet. And that's because I don't think they need nerfs. I think that non-slam melee needs buffs instead. Because while slams are quite powerful, they don't feel overpowered to me anymore. There have already been adjustments to individual skills along with Seismic Cry. Really, what's lacking now is non-slam melee. There's a few skills, Bleed primarily, that does work pretty well. There's of course always Cyclone. Cyclone is Cyclone, and it's always going to be Cyclone. If you don't know what that means, well, just go ask someone who knows the secret to all life and the meaning of the universe. For everything else, it feels like we haven't had a major rework for most melee skills in quite a long time. The last one was in 3.7, which was Legion League. And while there have been a lot of really strong and potent effects added to the game, most of them have been spells. Non-slam melee isn't the only attack skill that's fallen behind the meta. I could also see bow skills getting buffed. Wand skills are weird because they're limited, but they're also really good, so they're probably going to be ignored. But bow skills are notoriously tricky to balance, which is why the last bow rework failed, because it's really hard to make them just good rather than garbage or objectively better spells. Non-slam melee is much easier to tackle because the bar you have to balance around is slam melee, and just add a little bit of attack speed and tune the damage down to compensate. On the spell front, I could see traps getting a buff. I could also see spell totem getting a buff. The reason for these two archetypes getting buffs is right now they are both inferior versions of other things. The one way bows are quite good is ballista totems, and ballista totems are better spell totems that work with attacks. On the other hand, traps are awkward to use mines. Now there are trap-specific skills like explosive trap, fire trap, lightning trap, ice trap that are all quite good, but trap support itself is bad and needs a rework. The last time that it got reworked was in Incursion League, and that was about 3 years ago. So we're overdue. This would also be a buff to the Saboteur Ascendancy, who definitely needs it. The other Ascendancies that need some buffing and some love, especially the Juggernaut. I could also see the Deadeye getting some attention. It just got reworked. The rework kind of failed. And I could see Chief getting some attention, because while he is good at what he does, he's not good at anything outside of fire damage really, so not too many people play him. In short, what do I expect to see from Ascendancies? Probably a incidental buff to Sabo via a trap rework, a direct buff to Jug to make him more on par with all the other melee Ascendancies, and there's a fairly slim chance of anything else major happening. Just some minor numerical rebalances here and there. So, what am I looking forward to, and what are my predictions for 3.15? I think there's going to be a major nerf to a lot of the most popular, fastest, and most powerful skills. What I hope doesn't happen is another major nerf to defensive layers, because we have too much damage, and dying sucks. So continually nerfing defenses while adding more and more ways to scale damage just doesn't feel too great. In terms of the new skills, the purple chaos projectile overlapping shotgun skill, that one looks the coolest to me. Will it be good? Hard to tell without seeing the numbers, but it's really rare for a shotgunning skill that is most likely a spell to be bad. I don't know if it's going to be purely hit-based, or if it's going to be a mix of hit and damage over time with a stacking debuff. What's the safest League starter that you could pick, given everything I just said? Probably Toxic Rain. Toxic Rain Trickster, totally fine. Toxic Rain Raider, excellent. Toxic Rain Pathfinder, decent as well. So that's going to be my guess for the safest pick, but remember, anyone who talks about certainties and facts before the patch notes, well, there's a technical term for them, and it's called they're full of shit. If you want to see when I'm actually League starting, then stick around. About an hour from now, I'm going to be watching the trailer reveal live and giving my reaction here on YouTube. Next week, I'm also going to be covering the development manifesto, the patch notes, and of course, sharing my League starter build with all of you after the patch notes do come out. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and join my Discord so that you can see when those videos go up. But for now, what are your thoughts on 3.15? What do you think the biggest buff's gonna be? The biggest nerf's gonna be? And which new skill are you most excited for? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. A special thanks to my YouTube channel members and patrons, whose generous support keeps me from needing to accept sketchy mobile game sponsorships. If you want the best way to keep up with my video releases and live streams, or maybe just hang out and chat with a bunch of like-minded people, be sure to join the Discord. You can find all these links down in the description below. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great day.